Okay, now you have my attention.
Mascot horror. It's everywhere. Get used to it. Ever since I uploaded my video of Indigo Park and redesigning it has skyrocketed, and all of you were just deeply terrified if this design was actually in the game and wondered if I should make more. So, since I just did a video on a mascot horror game of recreating it, I thought, what is the worst mascot horror game? And then I'm gonna try and redesign it to make it something a little creepy, but also better. So, I thought for a while, and then I came across one of Dwako's old videos of a video game called Muzi, which was a mascot horror game, and boy was it meh. I didn't actually play Muzi, I just saw Dwako and Fusion C Gamer just play the game, and then I was just like taking notes as I go along, and it's just like one environment, next environment, and just tried to follow into this plot line with Poppy Playtime. Since the characters look almost similar to Poppy Playtime, but then flat out looks exactly like Huggy Wuggy. Or as Dwako likes to call him, Sluggy Wuggy. So let's start out with the cartoon design. Now, I thought this piece of bread was a different character, but it turns out to be Muzi all along, which I was not accepting. So I decided to make it like a midget-sized mascot that a kid would go up and try and hug. Something welcoming to the kids if this is like a play care kind of area. At first I kind of pictured Muzi as a mouse, but then I went along with giving it sharp ears because it's more a little better than just circle on a circle looking like a Mickey Mouse character. But then when I was drawing the design I realized, well, there's other fluffy stuff that I wanted to give my characters before I was drawing on my free time. So I decided to throw that onto the character, and what do you know, it only took me like a few minutes and I had Muzi. I just drew it in a little bow tie, gave it a little raincoat, little black rain boots, and boom, we have Muzi. Now I don't know what Muzi is. She's not a cat, she's not a mouse either, but something a little iconic. And I would definitely want to give Muzi a big hug. And just like that, we have Muzi. Now, next up for the other design, I want to work on the environment next. Now, I don't know what this place is. On the outside, it looks brick textured, meaning we're someplace abandoned. Of course. Could it be a toy factory? I don't know. All we know is that these creatures are animatronics. So, that's when I developed my story, and it only took me 30 minutes to write this entire story. The whole lore, the entire thing, just for this one specific chapter I've written by myself. So basically, the plot that I decided to go for was two workers snuck into an old warehouse that was abandoned and completely off limits. But they decided to build their kids' play care or whatever, you thingamajiggy, whatever, inside there secretly, hiring workers as they go along to try and bring in stuff, bring in trucks secretly, making sure they don't get caught. And then when the big day arrives for them to purchase the building, they will be ready for the people to instantly come in. But in the process of making that, one of the friends was secretly working overnight while the other friend was mysterious of what they were working on, and realizing the next day that each and every single one of the employees that worked for them was going missing. Until one day, a huge Amber Alert just went out and cops showed up to the warehouse building, but as soon as they got there, each and every cop went missing. And then that's where you come in, 3 weeks later, as a new cop to go investigate the place and find the missing other cops. So moving on, we have Buki, Bakalala, I don't know how to pronounce it. I called him Ginger. So for Ginger, I didn't really have a lot of. He's only there for like a split second as a jump scare, and then he dies. Right there. And then he never shows up again. So I decided to make my own version of the jump scare and make it an actual person, just in a costume. You would always have these people just walking around with a mascot costume like Mickey Mouse in the old days, just like as a big bulbous head. So I decided to do that for Ginger after you go inside the maze. And once you get to the end of the maze, you just see him sitting over there in the corner, and it's just a regular guy in a gingerbread hat with his head blown out. So basically the concept was this guy was the last remaining survivor, and most recently he tried to escape the building but realized he couldn't. And the only way for him to escape, which is in mind, oh, how do I make this unrestricted? Basically this on screen. But in doing so, he ended up surviving the accident. And then we show up, we take the weapon, and we progress. And he ends up throwing up blood. Makes sense. Than just scaring us and then dying again. Now, the snake, he was a little tricky than I thought. The snake, I forgot its name. Here, I'll put it on screen. Yeah, so this snake. Yeah, this snake. Yeah, there's not a lot to say about this. It just stands there, makes rubber noises, we do a couple of puzzles, and then it leaves after giving us a key. But since it doesn't really do anything, I decided to make the mascot of this entire snake into just a play structure. Basically, in this part of the game, you would just go inside the snake tunnels, you would find a little pattern padlock thing, you would push a couple of those for a combination, and then instantly get a key. There's not really a lot to say here since I decided to turn it to a play structure since this is supposed to remote as a kid's play area. But overall, I kind of like it. I enjoy it a lot. This guy was fun to draw. Now, for the moment we've all been waiting for. The horror form. I'm trying to make it creepy. I'm trying to make it spooky. So for this one, I tried to come up with something for Muzi as a tall, lanky character that's able to kick down doors, but I really couldn't find a horror thing for the face. And not only that, trying keeping it to the lore level. So, in the process of that, I'm like, well, why don't we just cut it down to size a little bit and make his eye level more in his middle ground. So basically, I made a tall version of Mimikyu from Pokemon. Now, since we have the tall Muzi now, we need to work on the short Muzis, because they're everywhere. For some reason, I don't know what the lore is, but they're everywhere. Now it's kind of tricky for me to try and do short characters, but I decided to get a little inspiration from the Happy game and made their heads huge. Kind of like the same going with the Mickey Mouse giant heads again. And so far, it worked. I really enjoyed it. Now imagine these guys chasing you in the game. And just like that, we have every single horror thing with Muzi. Now this could be better, but I'm telling you, let me tell you this right now. If the creator actually says yes that I can make a video game of this, I will make a horror game of Muzi, just the first chapter. I don't know where chapter 2 is, it's probably in the making of some kind. But if I get like the green light from the creators, I will make the first chapter of Muzi with these characters. Because I'm kind of happy to do so. Now with that being said, I have one more other thing to announce. I am making a horror game right at this moment. I don't want to say too much about it, stay tuned. And thank you for watching.